When we were children, birthdays glowed with a kind of magic. Balloons, cake, and the thrill of being seen. But somewhere along the way, that excitement faded. As adults, many of us greet our birthdays with a shrug. It's just another day. We tell ourselves we don't care, yet beneath the calm, something more complex stirs. Birthdays, psychologists say, are emotional mirrors. They reflect our relationship with being alive, with attention, and with visibility. When someone claims not to care about their birthday, it may sound like maturity, but often it's emotional protection. Repeated disappointment teaches the mind to lower its expectations. The brain learns to value stability over excitement when excitement has too often led to hurt. This self-protection is a quiet form of intelligence, but it comes with a cost. It can dull the joy that once came naturally. That's why so many adults say they don't celebrate, yet still notice who did or didn't remember. Even pretending not to care is a way of caring, compressed, hidden beneath composure. Psychologists call this avoidant validation behavior, convincing yourself you don't need recognition because you fear not receiving it. It often grows in people who once felt that their needs were inconvenient. Over time, they replace excitement with control, but control always carries a quiet ache. Beneath "it's just another day" lies the very human wish to be seen, not praised or paraded, but genuinely noticed. Birthdays symbolize existence itself, a single day that belongs entirely to you. Yet that reminder evokes mixed emotions, gratitude and loneliness, nostalgia and indifference. Birthdays confront us with time, inviting reflection on how far we've come and how far we haven't. For some, minimizing the day is a way to stay emotionally grounded, to keep the passage of time from feeling too heavy. There's also a cultural shift at play. In childhood, birthdays meant belonging. In adulthood, they can feel awkward. We wrestle between wanting to be acknowledged and not wanting to seem needy. Many who downplay their birthdays are the same people who grew up as caretakers, the responsible ones, the givers. They learn to put others first and now find their own joy secondary. Their discomfort with being celebrated isn't humility, it's emotional fatigue. They still crave recognition, but in a gentler form, to be remembered for who they are becoming, not just for the date they were born. As emotional maturity deepens, so does self-reliance, and paradoxically, that makes receiving love harder. Birthdays become neutral zones, where vulnerability is replaced by practicality. Yet beneath the calm, the mind still sorts through emotion, nostalgia for childhood wonder, gratitude for endurance, quiet longing for the simplicity of unguarded joy. Psychologists describe this as temporal self-awareness, the instinct to look back each year and compare who we are with who we hope to be. When that gap feels uncomfortable, people may avoid the day altogether. It's not apathy, it's introspection. It's the psyche asking for space to process its own timeline. Treating your birthday like a normal day, then, doesn't mean you're detached. It can mean you're deeply aware. You understand that validation feels different now, that celebration is less about age and more about meaning. As children, we wanted the world to recognize us. As adults, we seek to recognize ourselves. The focus shifts from presence to presence, from who shows up to how fully we've shown up in our own lives. This evolution doesn't erase the quiet wish to be remembered. You can be content and still crave connection. The independent heart still hopes someone will see through its armor. A birthday becomes a subtle test of who notices without being told. Even when we insist it doesn't matter, a small part of us still checks. That's not weakness, it's humanity. The way we experience birthdays also reflects how we process time. For some, it's progress. For others, pressure. If the past year felt fulfilling, the day feels like a milestone. If it was painful, it can feel like confrontation. Blurring the day into the rest of the week isn't denial, it's self-preservation. Yet even in quiet, birthdays stir gratitude, regret, and reflection. They're checkpoints of consciousness asking, am I living honestly? Do I recognize who I'm becoming? Perhaps that's the truest form of celebration. Not the noise of candles and confetti, but the quiet realization that you're still growing. Growth doesn't always need an audience. Sometimes it shows in subtle ways: forgiving faster, complaining less, finding beauty in the ordinary. When joy no longer depends on the calendar, you've discovered something deeper. Still, even the calmest souls deserve light. The people who treat their birthdays like any other day are often the same ones who hold space for everyone else's milestones. They forget that they too deserve warmth, not for what they do, but for who they are. There's no shame in wanting to be seen. The quiet ache you feel when no one calls is simply your heart reminding you that connection still matters. In truth, the psychology of an ordinary birthday isn't about indifference, it's about integration. It's the merging of joy and reflection, of self-sufficiency and longing. And even small gestures, a message, a call, a moment of presence, can mean everything. Because none of us truly want to be invisible, we just want to be loved in the language we understand. So if your birthday passes like any other day, don't see it as emptiness. It's evolution. The understanding that meaning doesn't need noise. But if someone remembers, let them. Let yourself be seen. Because even in silence, your existence is worth celebrating. You are, after all, a living continuation of every version of yourself that made it this far. And that alone is reason enough to whisper, "We made it another year."